Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us, and welcome to the Green Room, featuring Darrin Ingram, Craig Jackman, and Michael Rosenblum. And let's go ahead and get started with our host, Mr. Darrin Ingram.
Hey. Loving this music, Craig. It sounds amazing. So welcome to the Green Room. Listen, this is a behind-the-scenes look. We're tearing the curtain down, and we're going to have real conversations, real discussions about entertainment, performers, theater, the backstories, the stuff you guys never get to see or hear. And so we're going to take you through a bunch of, there's going to be episode after episode. It's going to be great. As long as Paul lets us have it, we're going to keep doing it. Episode after episode of conversations with theater owners, performers, people in the industry in New York, in the industry in Los Angeles, all around the world, talking about stories that you're not going to hear anywhere else. You're certainly not going to see on stage or on screen. So I'm Darrin Ingram. I am your host. I will be here the entire night, so get used to this face. I am also joined by my brethren in baldness, Michael Rosenblum and Craig Jackman. And so if you could, Michael, introduce yourself. Craig?
Hey, I'm Michael Rosenblum. How you doing?
Hello, Craig Jackman. Pleasure to see everybody tonight. What a great week we've had, Darrin, with, the Vaudacity Network allowing us this Friday night slot, but everything leading up to this and afterwards, wow.
It's been amazing. It has been one of those weeks where the content, first of all, something Paul says almost every Saturday is there is a good side to the COVID-19 challenge in that all of these unbelievable performers are available. I'm trying to put frosting on a poop-filled Twinkie. I know, but I gotta say, like, I'm watching the Pierce's shows and Wendy's show and the show just now, and we did an improv earlier today, and Dylan had his script reading, and Hunter's show where he's naked all the time, but not naked like I am. Like, there's all this great content. And if you put Hunter and I side by side in a naked picture, it's like a before and after. It's not a good look.
Oh, I couldn't tell the difference. Oh, I'm sorry.
We're like brothers that way. It's weird. Yeah. So I'm more of what happens to Hunter when life kicks in. So I wanted to kind of start by allowing sort of me and Michael and Craig to give you an idea of who we are and what we've done in the world, just so you have a little bit of backstory on our history and the kind of stories that we're going to bring.
Darrin, before we get started, let's acknowledge some of the people that are here with us in the chat. It's full.
It is a full chat, and I see a whole bunch of chatting going on. If I'm scrolling, I see Dari, Charity, Christy, Emily, Jeremy. On and on and on. Even Hunter's here.
Heather, Krista, Paul is in the chat.
Paul
Matthew
is in
King,
the chat. All right.
Christy Davila, thank you.
Patty David and Diana and
Emily Thatcher, Penny Pinkstaff. Great to see you. Dave Hill, thank you so much. Wow. We so appreciate the fact that we know it's 9:30 on a Friday night. Well, 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
10:04. It was supposed to be 9:30.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Hey, on Vaudacity, we are on time, right?
That's it. Yep.
It's not a school night. It's fine.
That's right. That's right. And when we say it's not a school night, we mean that they're right outside that door right there. So, again, part of the COVID thing is school is home for many of us. I did see Hunter's look. He gave kind of a look when I mentioned him. Hunter, I have only to admire your hair and your abs. I just want you to know it's out of admiration and respect for the work that you put in. I will never do that ever again. So,
and go for the nightcaps, as Christopher, definitely, or
yes.
whoever else is watching, please.
Yes. Yes. So we do have a great show. Before I get to the intros, we do have a great show for you tonight. We have on our show Ken Razor and Megan Razor from the High Street Arts Center. And we'll get more into their backstory, but they're going to give us a whole bunch of insight into how theater is going right now and when we're going to get back on stage and get audiences back in seats. So looking forward to that conversation. It's going to be great. But first, let me tell you a little bit about me. I've done some theater in my life. There was a time from about age 12 to about now where I've done theater, and I'm more than 12. I think the fascinating thing about the life of a performer is it takes you everywhere. And they talk about actors and performers as gypsies. And I think what they're really getting to is the fact that we're constantly bouncing from show to show to show. I even heard in the Quarantine with Friends just before this, Danny talking about the fact that one of the theaters she was in was a long run of 3 months. Now, for those of you that have the quote unquote regular jobs, imagine your regular job was maximum 3 months. Just let that sink in. So after that 3 months, you had already interviewed for another job and secured it and set that timeline. That's the life of a performer. What's cool about it, though, is that you get all of these fascinating stories. And you get all of these new people. Every show is a family. Every show is this new experience. And so for me, I went to New York. I did New York shows. I did national tours. I did regional and equity theater. I did TV and film. I've had my hand in lots of different things. I think the most fascinating part for me was when I wasn't on stage and when I was a stage manager or a director or a writer or working backstage or doing lights, because then you really get to see the stories. So we'll talk more about that later. But enough of me. Michael, if you wouldn't mind, just give me a little backstory on you.
Yeah. Well, first of all, this is my first show on Vodacity, and I got to say, I am so excited to be here because
Welcome.
I've seen Darrin. Thank you. I've seen you, Darrin, and I've seen a lot of my friends, wonderfully talented friends, just like you said, getting the chance to perform and having a venue to perform, which, God, we miss it so much. And it is so nice to have a place to come and perform. So thank you for that. Thank you for having me on and asking me to be a part of this. I'll give my real quick story. I went to college at Northwestern and just outside Chicago as a theater major and stayed in Chicago a few years after that, acting just from, like you said, one show to the next in children's theater, in Christmas shows, in brand new world premiere musicals, in Shakespeare in the Park, and all sorts of stuff, which is just so much fun. And then I said, okay, I'm moving back home to New York. I'm from Long Island originally. And I did some theater in New York and did some tours there, and it's where my wife and I met. And then I got an opportunity to audition for a cartoon that was going to be produced by Fox. And, hey, shot in the dark, let's see how it goes. And I got through to the next round. And they said, you should come out and do this. And I went, all right. And so I found myself in Los Angeles, and that was about 11 years ago. And I'm still doing the VO thing, doing some other things too, like we all do to take care of our families. But man, I love it. And I'm excited to be here. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of my story, but we'll get into more of that later.
Right on. And Mr. Jackman.
Well, I will kind of go with both of you in the sense that I've been doing theater, and I've been doing voiceover as well, Michael. Originally, I would say it started back when we were traveling cross country when I was a kid, and my mom raised us on the musicals. Mm. And so literally here is my mom, who was divorced, 3 kids in the back of a convertible, driving from California to Hammond, Indiana, singing musicals out loud while we're driving on Highway 66. Well, now it's Interstate 40, but then. And so that kind of got the bug. And then I always loved radio. One of our guests and we had a really good discussion about radio. And so I got into radio for a short period of time. And I wanted to kind of expand even further. So voiceover, and then the theater bug I got caught with. And so we're moving forward on that, and just learning so much about behind the scenes as well as being in front. Because, okay, I'm going to put out a little bit here. To be a good performer, you need to know what goes on behind the scenes too, and to respect what goes on behind the scenes. So, which because I graduated Cal State Fullerton, radio, TV, film, and so I'd say an all-arounder with all of that stuff. So that's a brief overview. We all have our stories to share that I'm looking forward to hearing and bringing on, some incredible people to share their experiences with as well.
Yep.
What was the most played musical, Craig, in the car?
I think it was The Music Man.
Yes, great choice.
And specifically since, we were just three young kids, and it was the only time my mom allowed us to say, damn, 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 I love her face.
Well, and fun fact about The Music Man, a lot of people sort of attribute In the Heights as one of the first rap musicals. Music Man, that was a lot of rap in there. It may not have had the same flavor or the same style as In the Heights, but that was Meredith Willson brought the house down with that. And if you haven't seen Music Man, wonderful show, done it twice, go see it. It's amazing. By the way, do not adjust your screen. Yes, we are all three white bald men. It is true. There's no way around it. I think the good news is that we don't take a lot of time to prep to get on. We pretty much just look like this. And I saw some chat. I will say, for those that are in the chat, please feel free to feed us any question you want at any time. If there's any topic that you want to think about and you're like, oh, I'd love to ask them about this, please put it in the chat. We will be monitoring the chat and we will answer your questions live on the show. And Hunter, yes, I will braid your hair on your chest. I will do it. Absolutely. Anytime.
Well, that's a skill of yours I didn't know about.
Well, I've got things, man. I've got
Okay,
history.
I think there are going to be people that want us to video that.
Happily. As long as we get to do it in Big Bear, and Wolfgang doesn't watch, because that'll just make it uncomfortable.
Well, we could braid Wolfgang's hair so he doesn't feel left out.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, Wolfgang's kind of scary. I mean, dude's got them muscles, right?
Well, did you see that picture in one of the promos for his Fireside Tales? I mean, Wolfgang's got...
So here's the thing. All of us, and I mentioned it earlier, all of us are obviously in our houses, and mostly naked from the waist down, but obviously in our houses. And there was a funny thing, and I want to share it with you guys real quick. There was a funny thing that Stephen Colbert did on his show the other night, that half of it was a good friend of mine is in it. So on this show, we're allowed to drop names, so we will. A good friend of mine is in it. And by the way, if you're in the industry, it happens all the time. Dropping names is like a big thing. I'm not a big fan of it, but for this show, happily do it because there's a lot of cool stories behind those names. So it's not for the sake of the name. But Christopher Jackson, good friend of mine. We were roommates in college. He was best man at my wedding. There's also George Washington in Hamilton and Benny in the Heights and blah, 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 blah. He's got a great resume. Mine's not as good. But he did this wonderful thing with Laura Benatti about being an actor at home. And I'd love to share it with you just for a minute. It doesn't take long, but it's from the Stephen Colbert Show. And here you go. So enjoy.
Hello. I'm Broadway legend, and it's in my contract that they have to let me call myself that, Laura Benatti. The COVID-19 crisis has devastated the theater community, and every day this pandemic drags on, people across the country face a terrifying reality: living with an out-of-work actor.
I think I want to do Greek for dinner.
I stabbed out these eyes. Why should I have eyes? Why, when nothing I saw was worth seeing? Nothing!
So, not Greek.
With no other outlet for their talents, these actors are giving at-home performances the New York Times calls a family's worst nightmare.
Dad, how do you spell potato?
My son, you ask a question because the answer you're without. I could not spell for you potato, but my child, you must sound it out.
And the situation is only getting more dire as these performers turn from triple threats into merely threats. But it's not just families and roommates who are affected. It's also, to quote Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber, cats.
Mr. Scruffles? Mr. Scruffles? Oh, not again. No! No more cats!
But you can help stop the cycle. Get these actors back on stage and these poor, innocent people back to whatever it is that non-actors do. I want to say file reports.
Wear a mask.
Social distance.
Brought to you by the Actors Desperate Friends Family and Roommates Fund.
Did you hear my part?
And we're clapping for me now.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to Laura Benanti, Christopher Jackson, and all of Broadway. I cannot wait till we can be with you again. Until then, you want to help, go to actorsfund.org for more details.
Such good stuff. Such good stuff. And so true. So very, very true. They always say about musicals, there's this big complaint about musicals. Oh, people don't break into song in real life. That doesn't happen.
We do.
Yeah, we do. You haven't been to my house.
We really do.
Come to my house. We are in song all the time. And for those who've seen Polly's show, it's the whole family. All four of us. So, but good stuff. And if you do happen to have a performer in your house, just know it'll be over soon.
We hope. That's the beauty of what we're doing here is that we are all performers, and especially on the Vaudacity Network and on Saturday nights and with the online variety show and Quarantine and all of what we've done this week is, we're stretching our legs, especially during this crazy time. I mean, can you guys believe it's been a year?
Yeah, I know. And the you mentioned it, Paul and the show on Saturday night, I got introduced to it late August, early September of last year. And for a performer and obviously for an audience member, it's been a lifeline. It's been a wonderful experience because we do still have something to look forward to, which is kind of the thing. One thing that Mary Zastro and Scott do is a lot of outtakes, which I absolutely adore because there's a lot of times, I don't know if you guys do this, if I have to record a song or a video, there's a whole lot of bad. Like there's a whole lot of bad. It's the thing you see in the final product is nothing like the 30 other minutes of tape that ends up getting thrown away. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Stephanie Renee Wall, who was on the show previously to us, has said that she's got stuff for her characters and her singing that, yeah, I mean, it's like, nope. Okay, maybe. Nope. All right, that'll work.
Well, and poor Skylar, he likes to consider himself a gamer. And he'll be chatting with his friends online and doing this stuff. And I will literally, every single time he says something, pick a musical theater song to relate to that while I'm cooking in the kitchen, and he's right there. And so any of his live streams, feel free. It's a free show. You might hear songs from Big River and Oklahoma and other Broadway tunes mixed in with, why did he shoot me? Oh, he shouldn't have been able to shoot me. It's not fair. It's a wonderful experience, family fun for all of us.
Oh, we don't go 2 sentences in this house without a musical being referenced by what had just been said by somebody else.
Yeah.
Like we even predict it. Like I know in my head now, I'm going to say something and I'm like, oh, my wife is going to sing this song from the show after I say these words. And it happens.
Well, and your story is interesting because you mentioned your wife. Your wife is also a performer.
She is.
She is, and she's
quite a good one.
Excellent performer.
Oh, yeah, she is.
Indeed. Played Ursula in The Little Mermaid quite recently. By recently, I mean at least 2 shows ago. It was
which is a year and a half at this
over
point.
a year, but it was only 2 shows ago.
It was only 2 shows ago.
Yeah, but an excellent performer and love her to death.
Yeah.
So how are you guys coping at home? Michael, how are you guys doing? You got the kids.
We love our children. No, we're look, comparatively speaking, we're doing fine. We're hanging in there. We're finding ways to cope and entertain ourselves. Thankfully, knock on wood, we were all doing well. But yeah, finding that creative outlet, that's tough. I mean, and so we have dance parties in the garage here. We'll just take one of our speakers out, throw on Pandora, and just start belting songs to the moon. That's how we get through. But there's always entertainment. There's dance parties. I mean, we have a 2-year-old and she loves to dance, and so we'll just throw on music and let her just go to town and have a dance party. And we all try to. That's our favorite thing: imitating the 2-year-old dancing.
Oh, love that.
So whatever she does, we all have to do.
Love that.
That is super fun. There was like heaving laughter during that. That's a good
Make
time.
a web series out of that. I'd do that exercise because if half of it's just that I have to reach out and touch the ground, I'm in.
Oh, it's great. And the best is that she has picked up from us. We'll say to her, "Get it, Izzy." My daughter's name is Isabella. We call her Izzy. And we'll say, "Get it, Izzy." And she eventually started getting to the point where when we dance, she'll look at us, point at us, and go, "Get it, dada. Get it, mama."
So, Craig, how are you holding up at home?
I've been a pretty good homebody. It's just me. I'm just me, myself, and I. No kids, no other. I mean, I have my brother is across the hall from me. My brother and I live in this same apartment, and then my family is just about a mile and a half away. The rest of my family. Thank God for this, because I do stuff during the week. I prep for the shows on Saturday, and of course now for this show too. And I help with the shows on a little bit on Thursday night. I help with Hunter's show in the background, and Friday night on the suggestion box. And then I have a regular job that I help with a friend who I do videos and voiceover for. So that has really been what's getting me through this whole pandemic thing. I want to be on the stage. I want to be in front of people. But the lovely thing about this is, okay, I'm still on a stage and I'm still in front of people. It's not the same thing though. I mean, it's been said on Paulie's show, and we've talked about it too. It's a different thing to have a live audience right there in front of you and respond and react. But if we can't do that, then this is the next best thing. And I'm really, I'm grateful, not just to Paul for putting this whole thing, and Stephanie and Dan and Jamie and Alex for putting this whole network together, but for everybody, because we all get to work together. We're all in the same situation, and we are making the best of this whole situation.
Well, and speaking of a live audience, I just saw a few more people jump in, Nick and Scott. But there's a name in there. You may notice a similarity to my last name, a gentleman named of Cody Ingram. That is my nephew. And he put in there, Darrin is good at everything. There is some backstory to that involving some video games and some challenges that we did at a sort of sports entertainment place that he got very frustrated because apparently I'm good at everything. Yeah, won the basketball challenge, won the air hockey. I'm just saying. But we did want to talk about some cool backstories. So before we got on, we actually talked about when all 3 of us, at one point in our lives, had hair.
Oh dear.
Now, it was not at the same moment, but I do have an interesting picture to show you guys that is both interesting in that I have hair, and interesting in that it is of entertainment value. So this lovely picture is me. And for those that don't know, the gentleman next to me is a wonderful performer by the name of Joel Grey.
I'm seeing twins.
And Joel Grey came out to the Burt Reynolds Jupiter Theater when I was working there to do his show. He had a one-man show and was lovely. He did a Q&A with us after, and we worked his show, and it was fantastic. But his question, he's like, do you guys have any questions? Love to, teach you guys some stuff, because we were all young 20s. And I looked at him and I was like, hey, man, what's up with that amazing haircut? And there was this sort of pin drop of silence in the room where everybody just sort of stopped and the air got sucked out. And for a moment I went, did I go too far? Did I just go just a step too far? But he laughed. We had a good chuckle about it. He ended up like shucking my hair really, really hard and snapped this quality shot with a couple of good looking kids with great hairlines. So, but that's the kind of stuff that we run into all the time. And the one thing that and many of those experiences taught me was we're all just people. We're all just trying to get through this crazy life thing. And most of us succeed really, really well. And a lot of us, myself included, have like a little bit of a roller coaster to it. And that's, for me, on those downturns is where the really funny stories start coming in. So, but before I get too far, I know Craig and Michael, you both have
Michael, go ahead.
hair pictures.
Dear. Do I have to share
I'm
my
excited.
screen here?
I'm excited.
I actually picked a different one from what we had before, but that's okay. Here, I'm going to share my screen. And there we go. Pick it up from here. This is a show I did when I was a freshman in college.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. There I am.
Oh, wow.
There it is. There's me with a big, full head of reddish hair.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So that's a long cry from here. That was a show called Selkie. It was a really cool show, and just the very first main stage show I did at Northwestern, and good memory. And look at that. Look at right there. Look at all that hair.
By
Wish
the
I
way,
still had that jacket though.
for our audience, this show will not be all about our hair. Just so you know, we're just getting it out of the way first so that we don't need to talk about it again and we can move on. So, hey, Craig, well, you got one good one. I know you do because I saw one. And
Yeah,
for those that have
kinda
seen
did.
Craig, this is a whopper.
Yeah, I it's not the one that I was looking for, but this
Okay.
one will still do. The one I was looking for was my high school graduation picture. This one, now I want to ask the question though before we get to show this: how many of us went to that modeling agency because we were so into wanting to get out there, and you paid the money, you got those pictures?
Are we allowed to say the name?
I'm not going to because it's gone anyways. But
Yeah, it
And-
rhymes with Amazon.
yes, actually.
Yeah.
And you put all that money and time into it and nothing happens. Well, this is actually one of my mom's favorite pictures.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That is actually not the certified way to hold champagne flutes, just so you know. Like,
Yeah, that's definitely going to get way too many bubbles. That's
Yeah.
just,
you will likely spill both. I'm just saying the form. I mean, the look is great. That look of, oh, yeah, baby. Like, that's a good look. But
That was what they told me to do.
did they really?
They did. They said, hold the champagne glasses like this and hold the bottle like
Oh, my
this.
goodness.
And so
Why
that,
do
and
photographers not know how people normally stand? There's so many times that happens. They're like, you should stand this way, like you normally do. And it's like, that's not a thing I normally ever do. Why would I stand like that?
and of course it was their photographer.
Wow. All right. So, hey, before we bring our first guests out, I did want to give them a little introduction. For those in our audience who are used to seeing kind of the regular players within the Vaudacity network, these two and Michael come from a different sort of group or circle, and that is that of the High Street Arts Center. Now, I am a bridge, now Michael is as well, between the two worlds. But High Street Art Center is one of these really, really cool places, and I won't butter it up too much because I've got a wonderful video that will show you all and get the teary cry going. But it's this wonderful place that really embraces both the professional and the amateur and makes neither feel like either. It's just a bunch of great humans that want to create something extraordinary for audiences and for each other. And so before I get too far into it, I'm going to go ahead and share the video that they use. You might recognize a couple of people in there, but I'm going to share this video and give you an idea of what High Street Art Center is all about.
The High Street Art Center is a family. Well, most theaters will say that they are theater family, but what makes us a little different is that we try to be for families. And nothing really exemplifies that more than when we did Peter Pan. Finding adult guys to be in a musical theater production is sometimes a little difficult. But what really made this production incredibly special was all the dads, the husbands, the co-workers, and sometimes even a mom who stepped up to be part of a show with people they loved. And that's what we try to do here at the High Street Art Center, is we try to bring in people so that we are a community and we are a family. And the families can also have time to be with each other.
Right place. High Street says, come on in, we welcome you. We want to give you a chance, and we also want to give you the opportunity to learn from people that have done it before.
Walking into High Street is like coming home.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see you guys, I get happiness, man. I'm happy with you guys. I really appreciate the time. I had a great time.
Yeah.
Getting able to be on stage with the kids that I direct in the kids camps, which is, you know, a big reason why you guys were in the show too, is to be in the show with your kids.
And being, you know, being with our kids was fun too. So,
but definitely looking at doing it again sometime. Hopefully with some of you guys again.
Love that. Absolutely love that. And to the green room, welcoming them backstage, as it were, are Ken Razor and Megan Razor. Welcome to both of you. Yes. And like I said to our audience, if you have questions, please, please, please go ahead and put them in the chat. What time is it where we are? We are at 10:33. That was the only question I've seen so far. That's where we're at. So Ken, Megan, welcome. And Megan, obviously you were the co-star of that video. Clearly there was another handsome devil on there as well. Ken, if you could, just you are what to High Street? What's your role over there?
I am the general manager, and it's been a terrific thing. Moore Park is home for me. It's where I've raised my family. We've lived there for 30 years. I've been part of High Street for 10. Worked with actors, stories, and scripts my entire life. It's been a thrill. And you know, just having people come out and wanting to be part of some terrific storytelling. And we've had the opportunity to have a lot of very talented people who want to come and play in our stage, both on both sides of the stage. You know, it's a form of movie theater. So it's it's almost a black box. There's no wing space, there's no backstage, but we have
just because you can stand on stage and like touch the wall when you reach off stage.
Yeah, there is no wing space.
But we have an incredible lighting designer who has been able to do things and create images and spaces with just lightness and dark. You know, when we just did not have anything that we could do with the set because we have no place to put things. So it's been great to have so many people want to be a part of it, and so it's been a terrific terrific run, fun run.
Well, yeah, and High Street redefines how the magic of theater really is, based on no wing space, not a true fly space, and a community of people that are putting this together, as opposed to, union performers and union actors coming in. It's people who are doing it out of their love of not only the theater, but your family and the greater family of High Street, which is just wonderful to watch. And if you kind of downplayed it, but Ken's involved in everything. Ken is one of the busiest people in the theater, if not the busiest person in the theater, just doing all the things. So the shows would not be what they are without Ken's involvement at any way, shape, or form, up to and including putting batteries and microphones before the show. So, and that is, of course, the magic of theater.
Isn't that what all general managers do?
I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to tell him, Megan, because he'll stop doing it. So yeah, they all do that. It's totally normal. And Megan, if you would give us a little backstory.
Yeah. So as my dad kind of mentioned here, I grew up in Moore Park. My childhood was spent doing a lot of voiceover. My dad owned a recording studio when I was little, and when you need a little girl's voice, well, Ken has a daughter. She'll work. So I kind of grew up doing a lot of theater, but to and from the recording studio in Hollywood, we would drive by all those little apartments, and my dad would go, "Those are where actors live. Do you want to live in those small apartments, or what do you want to do?" And somewhere. So I went for another high-paying job. I went for teacher, another really high-paying career. Yeah. But that really transitioned nicely, and I'm the director of education over at the High Street Arts Center. So I run all of our youth theater programs. I've been involved in youth theater far longer than one often would be, but I've been running it at High Street for the last almost decade now. And it's just been so incredible to watch and build that program from our very first summer with about 25 kids to, in a non-COVID summer, we have 80 kids on site, and then we have a winter camp and we do spring showcase. And early in COVID, we were doing online classes, and we're gearing up to do an in-person summer camp this summer. And so for me, in being able to do this program for the last decade, is I've gotten to see a lot of these kids grow up. I've gotten to see kids become staff.
Yeah.
And so getting to watch, for me, one of my favorite moments is always, we do this really cool thing when we do our winter program, where, so the last show we did in pandemic, or before pandemic, was Peter Pan. And we pair it with Peter Pan Jr. So there's always a night where the little kids get to come watch the real cast, because in a kid's mind, it goes camp, main stage, Broadway, like just very direct steps. So it's the real thing for them. And there's always a little kid every time, and it's never the lead, but it's some kid. They're usually like 9, 10-ish. And they get this real focused moment, and they just wait for their turn, and they can say loud and clearly what their name is and what their role is. And getting to watch kids build that confidence within themselves is my favorite part of my job.
Well, and that's a really magical moment for just about everybody. To paint the picture, the kids come in, and it's a long line. I mean, there's a lot of kids, right? Which is a wonderful thing. And they each say their thing, and then they go up on stage where, like you said, the real actors are, and we start to just intermingle, and they get an idea of.
My favorite part is, like, there's always a girl, and she's like, "I'm an ensemble female," and then all the women are like, "We're an ensemble female."
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just magic for everyone. It's just magic for everyone. And you directed Peter Pan, I forgot.
Yeah. No, Peter Pan was mine.
Yeah.
It was that, and the video did a lot of it justice, but just all of those parents and non-parents, husbands and coworkers and techies, and who all had, most of our pirates had never done a show before. So when we did our first dance rehearsal, it was literally, all right, this is your right foot, this is your left foot. When we turn, we go this way. No. There you go. Good job.
The other right.
Yes, people did fall down. I'm not exaggerating. It's not a joke. People did fall down doing.
And that's before you
shenanigans.
add the flying part.
Yes. So those that don't know, in that show I played Captain Hook. So in that video you just saw, the Captain Hook was actually me. It's a lot of makeup that made it look marginally handsome and a lot of hair. But to your point, I'd done shows before, obviously, but there were a lot of dads that did it to be closer to their families, to do a show with their families. And that, again, brings out that magic of High Street. Now, speaking of family, obviously High Street is a family affair.
So should we tell them the rotten child that I was story?
Absolutely. Yes. I love the rotten child because it's
this
allowed
is all
me to
behind
do
the
stuff.
scenes.
Yeah.
So I have a younger brother, and so my parents made the deal that they often do. My dad did Little League with my brother. My mom did Girl Scouts with me. And I was a brat. I was like 10. I went, Daddy, why don't you ever do anything with me?
Oh man, and you're still alive, Ken? What is that?
So Dad, what was the first role you did on stage?
I said, okay, whatever the next show is, I'm going to do it. And so it was a Christmas production. And I was Sucker the Elf.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the costume?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Green tights, little booties with bells on them that curled up, and yeah.
Highly disappointed, Megan, that you did not send me the picture of that before the show.
Oh, that would have been great.
We've looked, we can't find them. We know
Highly
they're
disappointed.
there.
Oh my goodness. But from that, bratty little girl grew this wonderful sort of family entertainment by a family. Ken and Megan's mom, Ken's wife, Kathy, is the stage manager and producer for many of the shows as well, if not all of them, and a wonderful human being as well, who keeps everything going. When chaos is around her, she is the most centered human I've ever seen in a chaotic situation. So that example backstage, and that example from you two as either as the director or the director of children's services, well, I forget what it was called, so I just made it sound like it was an HR thing.
That's fine. It's close.
That centering really does allow for the rest of us. And this is kind of that backstage thing. If you feel like the people have their stuff together that are running a theater, you feel more freedom to try, to give more, to be vulnerable. And you've created a space that absolutely allows for that. We have a couple of questions in the chat already, which is great. One, Dari Mills, who is a favorite on the Vaudacity Network and had her own show this week. Congratulations, Dari. Asked, or not asked, but sort of put a bug out there that she would love to work for High Street in the makeup department in the future. There's a warning, Dari, that two of these faces would be faces you might be making up, so be careful what you wish for. But she has put that out there, so I will get her information to you.
Yeah, pass that along.
Start that conversation. Matthew King has a question, and it's kind of a parter. A business question for the Razors. The pandemic obviously closed theaters, but before that happened, California passed AB 5, and several theaters were forced to close. How are you planning to cope with it?
Well, okay, so first and foremost, we are a community theater. So that means everybody volunteers. And that's what we do. It's fun. There have been people out on our stage when Laser Wolf was an airline pilot for Delta Airlines. He flew 767s.
And for those that don't know, that's from Fiddler on the Roof.
Yes, from Fiddler on the Roof. We've got two doctors who appear on our stage on a regular basis. I've been in, as I say, I've been working with actors my entire life. You know, we never can control our success. You know, we can only express our passion and just be driven by it. You know, and you perform because it's what you love doing. We're very fortunate where we're at in Ventura County. There are 7 community theaters in the county. They all stay very, very busy. And by the way, those are the community theaters that have stages and facilities. There's a dozen more, you know, various different production companies that slip in and out of various different places. And that doesn't count the 2 equity houses that are in the county. There's just a ton of theater. Southern California, we're a target-rich environment. And so there's a lot of people who want to come and be a part of that. As to the to get back to the question, for if it seems a little, AB 5 is Assembly Bill 5 has to do with independent contractors and how they're paid and what then constitutes an employee these days. And it's very complicated thing, and it's still being kicked around quite a bit. But it has presented a problem for a variety of organizations of all sorts. And then there was a proposition on the last election, you know, because the Uber and Lyft thing was at the heart of all that too. Now, they wrote their solution specifically for their own industry. But it's problematic, and you know, everybody. I wish I had a good answer for that. The long answer is it's still in progress, because so much of what happens on a stage, like for example, in addition to the theatrical stuff that we do, we also do a concert series. You know, and we have bands that come out. Well, you know, the gig economy. The gig economy, what could be more of a gig than a band putting on a show? It's the very definition of a gig. All that's been put somewhat in question by the folks up in Sacramento. So I think they're still working on that.
I think there's another question in here from Diana. Do you have any other branches of the theater? And I'll ask that, and then I'll make my very interested face, because I love to hear the answer to this question.
Branches of the theater. Well, okay, so
Michael's interested too.
We try to really make it. There's a we sometimes call it the gathering place, and that's a title that I've stolen from the island of Oahu. So next time I'm back in Hawaii, I'll give it back. But just to make it just a really, you know, Moore Park's a place of 35,000 people. And it's a terrific little community. Michael's just moved there within the last year, wasn't it, Michael? Yeah.
6 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. But so there's a wide variety of offerings. So we do five main stage productions a year, 4 musicals, 1 Christmas show, as Megan said, 2 or 3 youth programs throughout the year. We've got comedy nights, we do concerts, we do you know, film series. What am I leaving out? And anything else that happens to be a part of that. So it's like we're busy all the time, except since March 13th.
That brings me to my next question. What next?
Oh boy. Boy, if I knew the answer to that, I'd be buying lotto tickets. You know, okay, so here's the most exciting thing that I heard, because I'm watching all the same news you guys are watching. I'm listening on hanging on every word Anthony Fauci says. A couple things. Fauci this last week actually started talking about live theater. That's something he really hadn't done before, you know, he's talking about October, and or the fall is what he said. That probably sounds about right to me. The other thing that I heard, and I know some of the stuff, they just kind of have to see what happens, try new things, see what's working. But the 3 feet as opposed to 6 feet, wow, that would be a game changer for us. At 6 feet, we can't operate at all because I just can't I can't spread people out far enough. We have a house of about 260 and I could probably put 35, 40 people in the house.
Right.
That's it. If I'm,
and that's before you get to the actors.
Yeah, and by the way, and as Megan says, yeah, very much hasn't even counted the actors yet, and that's assuming that the seats are sold in pairs. That's based on that assumption. At 3 feet, 3 feet's really only about one open seat. So that's much more doable. That could be a thing. So we'll have to see how that goes. But obviously, vaccine rollout's going well, getting better. That's good news. So.
Yep. Well, and Megan, you're
I
up
get my
first.
second dose on Sunday.
Well, and being an educator, I actually saw in the chat, Christy looks to be also a teacher. So
hey, fellow teacher buddy.
Love that. Diana Nicole asked locations. Do you have extra locations? I know the answer to this, but do you have other locations that you guys work out of?
Well, we have Studio 61 and no, we don't. We have, so we get the building, 41 East High Street in Moore Park. And then we also rent out both buildings on either side of us that we use for, one is office spaces and a little bit of storage. And the other one is a semi-rehearsal space and some storage. And then we've got another building kind of down the street and around the corner that's a lot of set storage.
Yep.
But the theater is the only place where we play.
So next up is Megan with children.
Yes.
And
yeah, so we're watching all of the guidelines. Rumor has it is that new regulations on day camps comes out on April 1st.
Okay.
Because all of the regulations about what day camps are supposed to be is the only thing the state has for us right now is stuff from June of last year. And we know a whole lot more about COVID between now and then. So we're really looking forward to that. But I could tell you guys what show we're planning on doing.
What show are we planning on doing?
Ooh, new news. We're going to be doing Moana Junior this summer.
Ooh, breaking. Spread the word. Let everybody know.
Hey, that's breaking news on the first
breaking
episode.
news
Look
on
at
the
you
first
guys
show.
go.
We broke a story, ladies and gentlemen. And then scheduled. What is the first show of the season, Ken?
Well, we have it's continually kept evolving and evolving and evolving, but presently, hopefully, no more evolution. It will be in October. It will be West Side Story, and the director.
I hear he's a tool.
He is. He's not a nice person. Not a nice person.
I wouldn't want to work for him.
No way. So why they're joking, I will be directing West Side Story at High Street if all goes well, which would be amazing. It's a wonderful show. Please come out and see it if you can. But that said, we've talked through sort of the hope of it. After let's say everybody gets vaccines and we have the new normal, how do you see that changing theater as we know it? Do you see there being still this need for space, this need for online presence? Like, what's your thoughts on theater in the new normal post-COVID? Is it back to normal?
I'm a big believer that yes, it gets back to normal. That intimate experience about being there, that's where all the magic is. There's a lot that can be done in this realm that we're in right now. I spent a good part of my career in radio. Okay. So, and there's a whole way in which you relate to your audience when it's just audio, and how you there's a different kind of intimacy, and certainly there are advantages to the Zoom and the format and all of that, but the magic of live theater is being there. Mm-hmm. That's what it is, and there's nothing that's gonna replace that. They have filmed Broadway musicals for a very long time, and it's always exciting to see some of those productions. And most recently, obviously, the big thing was when Hamilton made it to Disney Plus, and
what?
What?
Hamilton?
Small show.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about it later.
All right.
Yeah.
But the point of it is as cool as that is, and especially some for us who are in theater, who can then be able to take that and study it, because it's now just becomes some textbook material there, but it's not the same thing.
It's not.
And that's what you go for. It's not going to happen overnight. We're going to have to. There are a dozen hurdles. There are a dozen times a dozen hurdles we have to go through between now and then. We don't know all the various other things that the bumps along the way. But eventually we get past this. It happened 100 years ago, and then everybody forgot about what that was. But the reason you forget is, when you're in the middle of it, that's all you can see.
Yeah.
We do get to the other side of this. And it normal, maybe a year off, maybe a year and a half off, until we're, back, the old theater gang everybody hugging each other and all that kind of stuff. That's just what we do. But eventually we're going to get there.
I'm going to make it uncomfortable and awkward for every single human I get in contact with when
I think everybody's looking forward to that moment too. Just
really long hugs.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And to your point, Ken, I have a quick plug and a related statement. I have a show that I'm doing next week, one that I wrote. We're doing an online reading of, and Michael is in it. Thank you, Michael. And it's a human story. And we're doing it online. And yes, you feel sort of the moments, but it's not the same as the tension that you can create with an audience in the silence, in the space, when you see a solitary character on stage and they just take a breath and you hear that breath go through an entire silent audience. That's magic that you can't get through this interface. So I look forward to it. I'm dying to get back on a stage. And I'm grateful for what we have right now, but I'm dying to get in front of humans again. There were a couple of questions in here. One of them kind of, I think half funny, but sort of not funny. Caitlin asked, what does one do with an MFA in acting?
A great question, Caitlin.
Teach?
Yeah, I'm like, that's all I got for you.
Yeah, yeah, and Caitlin, I love you, but yeah.
I have a friend with her psych degree, and she keeps it in the guest bathroom. So they do make good wall decorations too.
Here's the serious answer to that. All training is good training when it comes to acting. Every time you do it, you're getting better. Every situation that you perform in, you're getting better. It doesn't matter. The best way to become a great actor is to keep acting. That's they always say in voiceovers, look, you got to keep training. Well, I already know how to speak. You just got to keep training, right? Then you got two voiceover artists here. Three.
A coach in college who said, acting's a skill.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who are inherently better at it than others, but everyone can always get better.
Yep.
And you get better by practice.
I have a thing, and I think Megan, you and I have talked about this. I have I get sort of the thing in my back when somebody says, "Oh, you're so talented," because I like to consider myself skilled, because I've worked really, really hard to create a person on stage who isn't me, and to create a give and take with an audience, and to have an agreement with the people that walk in and give up 2 hours of their life to us as a gift so that we can give back to them an experience. There's a lot of work that goes into that. So when somebody says you're talented, it almost seems like
it invalidates it.
Yeah, you could just do this. So yeah, it's skill. You got to work. And Caitlin, congratulations to you for working so hard to get that degree.
Yeah.
You are better for it. I wish I could tell you that there are theaters out there that look at that. Most of them you're going to get through connections and skill.
And it's the experience that's the most important thing too. I mean, it's like, you do an internship, right? You can learn the foundations, but you just got to get out there and do it.
Yeah.
Well, and if I can just leapfrog off that for a second, we work very hard at our youth program, and we've got a lot of kids who come through there, and as Megan said, with my son, who is also involved in theater as well, I never, when we were doing Little League, imagined he was going to play center field for the New York Yankees. That was not he did, by the way. Yeah. He very, very much expected to.
Yeah.
But, and with theater and with acting, and I say this with as much love as I can, I wish I could say that fame came with it, because with fame is where the financial rewards come. Unfortunately, they don't.
Nope.
But now, and here's the point, which I wanted to jump in on. With our kids, it makes them more confident.
Mm-hmm.
It makes them able to stand up in any room and speak, confidently. And that just has so many things. For Megan, she became a teacher,
Perform every day.
Yeah.
And for some of the doctor friends that I know, I think it actually makes them better doctors.
I get in front of boards of other companies all the time, especially when I was out on the road doing sales for security companies. And look, this is all related. Yeah. I was able to walk into a room full of people who didn't want me to be there and engage them.
And still act out your passion. Mm-hmm. As I said, that's why we have these 7 stages in Ventura County where people get up there and want to be a part of it. Just because that's you go to Las Vegas. Okay. So you go to Las Vegas, you can, for, I think it's somewhere through $300 an hour.
Yep.
You can drive a bulldozer. Okay. Because, hey, that's really cool. And I've always wanted to do it. People are actually paid to drive bulldozers.
Yep.
You don't actually pay to drive. That's the point here is you do things because you love them. That's why you do it. And keep doing it, because it is what lights people up.
Well, and that's what I tell a lot of our kids a bunch. And it's, the theater for me, it's my bowling league. It's my softball team. It's this thing that I love to do, and I don't make any money doing it, but I still have fun, and we get to go, we play. And
yeah. Well, and even when I was making money at it, like I did it as a career. I didn't wait tables. It was what I did. My quest was still to be respected.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I was going to be amazingly famous or amazingly rich. It would be great, but that was never the goal. The goal was always to be able to walk into a room and people go, yeah, I'd work with that guy again. So that's the hope, and that's what you guys do. I've seen you do it with your kids. There are no bullies in your theater, which is fabulous, because theater can get catty. And I'm sure we'll have some people on in other episodes that we can talk about some catty stories. I think it's fortunate that you guys don't have as many theaters do.
Well,
I have one quick brag story, and then we can change the subject. But there was one summer, and I can't even remember which. I think it might have been the summer we did Frozen, but I couldn't tell you that for sure. It was after opening night. I had this mom come up to me, and the mom was in tears, and she goes, "I just want to say thank you. My daughter she's autistic, and she's never had friends before, and I've never seen her come home so happy. And just, she has friends here, and I want to thank you so much for helping her have friends." I'm not going to cry. And it was a really humbling moment. And I went over to the staff, and I'm like, this is not, I mean, the mom talked to me, but this is on you for the camp that you guys did. And it was such an amazing moment to kind of be a small part of.
This is the one, you were muted, Darrin.
Yeah.
I was going to say, this is the one thing that I love about what theater does, is it brings out, especially the shy people. It's not for everybody, granted, but there are people who just want to get up and show what they can do. And especially with children, I think I admire theaters who can put on the children productions.
And they do a great job of it. They really, really do. And I know, Megan, you were trying to get me to cry. You're just not going to do it. I know you were trying to hit the exact thing, because I always make other people cry, but you're not going to get me this time.
Actually close though. I think I got you.
You were close. You were close. All right, so let's play a game.
All
shall
right.
we? Let's torture our guests. I think that's what we'll call this segment, Craig.
Torture our guests.
Torture our
That's going to get a lot of
guests.
people to come on. That's good.
Yeah, you're just gonna have so many people waiting to line up to do this next.
So the game is 30 questions. Originally, we thought about possibly doing the James Lipton questions, but we don't want to get sued, so whatever. But we'll do 30 questions. We'll do it round robin style. Me, Michael, Craig, me, Michael, Craig, me, Michael, Craig.
Oh, so I have to be on it with the
You got to be
questions.
ready.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
giving, this is your warning. 2 minutes, everybody. 2 minutes. Thank you, too. So we'll rapid fire some questions for you. If I see questions in the chat as well, I will flip back and forth to see those as well. But we will just start. Who would you, this is for Megan and Ken, who would you want to play you in a movie of your life?
Kristen Bell, done.
Nice. Ken?
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. Nicely done. Michael?
All right. What do you always roll your eyes at when somebody says it to you? That question, apparently.
That question.
It's artiste.
Oh. Wow. What about you, Megan?
I mean, for me, I instantly go to a bad student excuse, but that's totally not a theater-related answer. But man, I've heard some good ones in the last year.
We'll take it, though. We'll take it. All right, Greg.
Elvis Presley or the Beatles?
Beatles. Well, I better be careful who's listening when I say that.
I'm not even on this. We're just going to go neutral here.
That's an inside Moore Park thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We have
all right.
We have an Elvis performer in town.
Yes, and somebody on this Zoom tried to fit into the spandex of Elvis for a Christmas show once.
Yes.
Picture.
It's out there. It's out there. Go to the High Street
I cut
website.
that out of my memory.
I did too.
I shared a
did
dressing room
too.
with that guy.
That was me, guys. Anybody watching, that was me. For one Christmas show, I in fact got into the hair and the jumpsuit of Elvis, and did the ahas and the thank you very muches. First show you want to see after COVID?
Well, that's easy. West Side Story.
I was going to go one with friends in it.
There you go. I was gonna say Moana Jr., but I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Michael.
What's your favorite post-show, either meal or drink?
Moons over my hammies at Denny's.
Oh, love that.
Campaign in 61.
Yeah.
Okay, what was the last movie you saw?
I think Toy Story 4.
Oh, gosh. Oh, this is terrible. I think it was 27 Dresses.
Too much theater for him.
What is your least favorite show you've either performed in or produced?
I was in a bad version of Pippin.
Oh, there's a lot of Pippin lovers out there too. So
Yeah, I mean, it's good when it's good, but when it's not, it's rough.
Oh, you know what? I have to pass on that because I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Pick a show you didn't do, man. Just make it up. Nobody will know. It's fine. Michael.
I'm gonna stay on the food topic here. I'm Jewish, so there's a lot of food stuff that. Yeah. Best intermission snack to get at High Street.
Popcorn. Sue's popcorn.
Snickers and Merlot.
Is it the peanut and the Merlot? Is that what really?
Yeah, it's pairing. It's the pairing.
It's the pairing. Yeah, yeah.
Greg.
Okay. I'm going after a few of the esoteric questions that I've got here. Have you ever used the phrase "back in my time" to someone younger than you?
Never.
At least once a week.
Never.
Oof.
No.
100%. I usually preface it with back when the dinosaurs ruled the earth and I was your age.
What's the best seat in the house?
Mine.
Oh yeah, Megan.
Yeah.
I love sitting in the light booth.
Yeah, I run the soundboard so I get to see every single show. And here's the best thing about that seat: I get to see everybody come up after the show and go by, and so I know immediately what kind of show we got.
And
You're
so
your own Nielsen poll.
Yeah.
and so for those of you watching, if you come see a show at High Street, give Ken a nod on the way out, especially if you were on House.
Actually, you know what's fun is, I mean, I'm there. Sometimes I'll do a curtain speech, or maybe it'll be recorded. But I've been there for so long, people know who I am, know what I do. But it's real easy to sort out the platitudes from the genuine stuff, because as they're coming up the aisle, I can see people like 4 or 5 people away who can't wait to, come by and say, what the show meant to them. And, I know there's a disagreement about theater people on this, but we do meet and greets after the show out front. We do them in costume. I'm not going to get into that controversy. I'm just going to say we do it. The reason we do it is so that the cast can be there instantly when the house comes out. And oh my God, it's the biggest love fest in the world. They can't wait to tell you what the performance meant to them. So,
But I'll tell you, personal experience playing Captain Hook, the bad guy, going out, and all of these munchkins, knee high and lower, coming up with this sort of apprehensive look, like, is he going to bite me? And then getting down and talking to them and asking them if they want to be a pirate or a native, or who's their favorite character. And you could just see them lighting up about theater and see that sort of spark of joy, which is what theater's all about.
That happened with Allison and Ursula. The little girls were very afraid to come up to her. She was still in her full Ursula look. And then she would talk to him in her Ursula voice, and you see they'd warm up just a little bit. It's funny. My favorite one, though, because I do like the meet and greets. I think it's lovely. People get to share their experience. After Into the Woods, which I played the baker, I had a woman come up to me. She walks up, she's crying a little bit. She puts her hand on my arm and just goes, with tears in her eyes, and then walks away. That was it. And I went, cool. That's the best one I'm going to get the entire run of the show.
And hearkening back to what we talked about earlier and the importance of being live. And this is just one of my stories that I take away from there and I never forget. So we're doing Footloose. Okay. And so the soundboard is right up against the last row of seats. Okay. So right in front of me, there's this guy, and he is like 85 if he's a day, maybe 90, and he is like moving around all the time, and he's dancing and he's stuff. And did we have did the cast play in the aisles in that show? Meg, do you remember? I'm trying to remember now. But in any event, but at the very end, the entire house gets out and it's just a big dance party. Well, now this guy is really, really dancing. And I can see that at some point he must have hit himself in the top of the head because he got a Band-Aid on it, and I'm worried he's going to topple over onto the aisle or some of this stuff. So now the lights come up and the music's over, the show's over, and he's still dancing as he walks by, and he waves to me as he's going by. His wife comes over, leans into me, and tells me, so that only I hear, he has Alzheimer's. This was so good for him, and it's just stuff like that, yeah.
I mean, and you don't get those comments every show. You don't get them every week. You don't get them all the time. But when you get them, they sit with you for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to stop the question loop on that because that was pretty much the perfect ending.
That's a good ending.
Damn it. Everyone's like, I don't have anything to follow that up with. We still got 10 minutes of content. This is going to suck. Ken, Megan, thank you so much for coming on.
Pleasure.
Thank you for building a wonderful place for performers and audiences.
Thank you for all the help. Thank you for all the people who's wanted to come and play in our little creative sandbox.
Yep.
We can't wait to come back home again. So
and I think one of the lessons for those that are watching, if you want to audition, it's not scary. It's not. It is scary, but it's not.
We promise that auditions are well. So one quick behind the scenes story. So Peter Pan. It's the most fresh thing in my brain. Those auditions were the most fun auditions I have ever sat through because. And we did open auditions for that because everyone was so supportive. We have one dad, he sang Sweet Caroline.
Wonderful.
And the whole room went ba, ba, ba with him during the song. And it was this, auditioning's scary. I'm not going to lie and say it's not, but it's not always. And so you got to just come and try and come and play.
Megan, Ken, thank you so much for coming on our little show and being the very first ever guests on the Green Room. Appreciate you as always. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So for the rest of you, there we go. So for the rest of you guys, my baldsome trio, theater post-COVID.
Can I piggyback on just what Megan was saying? Yeah, because there's a person here who is watching us, and she just made a happy face. I had the pleasure of introducing Angelica Bolschweiler to theater and an audition, and it was really cool. If you want to at least give it a try, do it. She loved it. She had a good experience. Now, whether you're selected or not, because you don't know what they're looking for. I mean, you have a basic idea, but there's a lot more that goes on than just being Captain Hook or the mother or the father. There's a lot behind that goes into, do they look right? So you don't know. And you may be just the person to do it. So get out there and do it. And I was very proud of her. She met me at the Grove Theater in Upland, and we went and auditioned. She did not fit the audition because she wasn't with who was selected. Is what I found out. But she did it. She went and she did it. Do it. Just get out there and do it.
Yep. And I want to see anybody who is in the Ventura County area or even northern Los Angeles County area at the West Side Story auditions. I am the least scary director you will meet. So please, please, please come out.
I will also then ask for the same thing for the Sound of Music auditions, which are eventually coming. So
Sound of Music director right there. And you can hear the kinds of stories that they're telling over at High Street. Peter Pan, Mary Poppins, Sound of Music. It's stories you know and love in a place that makes it easy to fall in love with theater again. All right, so we have a little bit of time. Actually, we don't, but we're going to steal a little bit of time for you guys to do a quick fun game, kind of a closeout game that we like to play. And Michael's already rubbing his hands because I know he enjoys this one. But it's a little game called Devil's Advocate.
Oh, yes.
And here's how it works. We're going to pick a topic in our entertainment world that is fairly universally yes. Whether it's something that I won't even give examples because I'll lose all of my examples and then not have one for the game. But it's something that everybody goes, yeah, you're right. And our good buddy Michael is going to take the opposite of that. And Craig and I get to just watch him squirm as we pick apart his challenges to our statement.
Cool. I didn't realize this was all on me to do, but sure. Yeah.
All on you. I'm so excited.
Let's go.
I'm so excited. We'll flip it around. We'll move it around show to show. So it won't always be you.
Come on.
Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Let's go. Let's do this.
All right. The Devil's Advocate. So first topic, and I'll throw you an easy one.
Okay.
I'll throw you an easy one because, we got, and Craig just reminded me, producer Craig, that's his name in the other show, just reminded me that I have to slip in a promo So let's do that before we get into the game, because we'll get to the end and people will go, well, didn't he promo other shows? So go ahead and bring up the graphic if you have it. And
Okay, I will. Actually, the first graphic I want to bring up is something that is taking place today. And those of you that helped to support the Skullduggers, the money went to the With Hope Foundation. Well, tonight, if we can get this in before midnight, they're going to match up to $20,000 your donation. And it's a fundraiser for the With Hope Foundation, suicide prevention through mental health education. It's an amazing group. Don and Julie Emery are our connection to it. I'm sorry if I get a little emotional with it, but their son, Chris, committed suicide. And I remember that morning very vividly. And it's always been on my mind. And this time of the year, we usually have a walkathon. This year, it's virtual. So if there's any way that you could donate today, everything that goes in is doubled up to $20,000, and it will be matched. And I will put the link in the chat. So if we can do that, that would be totally awesome. I'm going to grab the link right now before we go ahead and promote the shows.
Yep.
Because we've got an amazing week ahead of us here on the Vaudacity Network. I mean, we've just had an incredible week. It really has been. And let's see.
While you're doing that, I'll talk through them. So
yeah. So let me go ahead and I'll bring up the slides, because we've still got, tomorrow and Sunday.
Tomorrow and Sunday, we still got 4 shows left. I believe that's the number.
Yes.
4 shows left to this week with only 2 days left. So is that graphic us?
There we go.
Aha! Perfect. So tomorrow we have, obviously, everybody's favorite online variety show, Polly's Online Variety Show, number 70. Unbelievable that he's gotten it to 70, starting at 6 p.m. And that is Joker's Wild. So Joker's Wild is we, the performers, get to pick what we're going to sing. I was thinking about a couple of Sir Mix-a-Lot songs, but I'll let it be a surprise for tomorrow. What? He did some good work.
Okay. Well, if that's your Joker's Wild, go for it.
And then right after that show, we have another show with some guy you might have seen, who I'm going to be doing an after-party green room edition. So it's not going to be like what you see here. It'll be a little bit more free-form, but we will still have a little bit of boundaries around it. And the cast, or anybody who wants to, within the cast of that variety show that night, we'll do a behind-the-scenes on how did they get to that point? How did they choose the song that they chose? How did they get here as a performer, and start doing a little bit of the behind the scenes of these online variety shows, so that you guys get a peek behind the curtain of those as well. And that's directly after the show. It says 10:30. We know how the shows go, so it's an ish. Whenever the show ends, it will kick on. And then coming up on Sunday, we have 2 great shows as well. We have Amanda on Demanda, starting at 7:30 Pacific time. Amanda has been capturing a number of requests from people of songs that she'll sing, and performances that people want her to do. She's a fantastic singer, fantastic performer. Please come out and watch. And if you have any requests, go to Vaudacity Online and submit some requests for Amanda to sing. And then following right after that is another edition of In the Cove with our good friend Paul, where he goes completely unplugged. And according to him, that means that he is also unfit but unashamed of that unpluggedness. And that is at 8:30, directly after Amanda on Demanda. So a really, really great lineup still to come for the rest of this week. Now, we haven't even talked about next week, where there's more entertainment. So a wonderful network that has been created for us performers to get a chance to entertain for y'all. So with that,
okay.
I see Paul Carganilla. He says that the after party green room will begin promptly at 10:30 p.m. tomorrow. I will. I am not a betting man, Paul. I'm not. But in this case, I may put a $5 down on that one and see if we can get a little action on that bad boy.
That'll be interesting to see.
I
mean, we've had our overnight show. I call it the overnight show because we started at like 6 and we ended up at like 1.
Oh, it was incredible. And here's the thing: you could watch any part of that show and be amazingly entertained.
Exactly.
So there weren't any dips, and Paul puts together a fantastic program, as he would like to say, where you can jump on at any time, but we'd love you to start at the beginning, and you could see a wonderful performance. So kudos to Paul for putting great entertainment online for the rest of us humans. All right, so Devil's Advocate, and Michael, I put you on the spot on purpose. I did that completely on purpose.
That's fine.
Because I love watching you squirm just slightly. It fills my heart with the glees. Yeah. So Devil's Advocate, let's come up with an easy topic first, and then we'll shift to a second one. And then as we go, we'll just do this at the end of the show, every show. So the first one's an easy one. COVID has been great for Broadway. That is your stance.
Okay.
That is your stance. COVID has been great for Broadway. Take a second, think about it, give us your best argument.
Okay. All right. So let's just get it out there right now. Nothing about COVID is actually good, and it's awful, and I'm, my heart breaks for anybody who's been affected by it, which is all of us. However, the pause that Broadway got to take, even though it's awful that people are out of work, and I hope they get back to work really, really soon, may have given us an opportunity to reflect a little bit about the way we do theater, the way that people approach theater, the way that people see theater, the way that people do theater, and taking that moment to be able to, because before it's all go, 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 go. We got to go to the next show, the next show, the next show. What's the next one coming in? So having a moment to go, what can we re-examine that maybe we can do a little bit better when we have a chance to come back, because now we had a moment to stop and think about it. So while it's awful that people haven't been able to work and people have been sick and dying, and that's truly terrible, the one small thing we can take away is that we can have a moment to say, okay, what can we do differently and maybe improve the experience, not just for the actors, for the people that work behind the scenes, but for the audience too. There you go.
Wow, that was really good. And you know what? Because I did it to you, I'm going to do it to Craig as well. Craig, you're next. So your topic, Craig's like, what? Your topic.
Go ahead.
I know, that's the beauty of this.
Okay, bring it.
Your thing is famous people in big roles on Broadway are great for the rest of the performing industry.
They're great for the performing industry because they bring people in to the shows.
Oh.
Hey, you want me to play the devil's advocate?
No, that was good. That was good.
They bring people, they draw people into the shows, regardless of, okay, fine, they may have, they may not work well with certain actors or actresses, but they draw the people in. And this is the same thing that you could say about voiceover too. Because we were talking about that at one point. The actors, they are able to draw the people. I mean, would you, Morgan Freeman, or better yet, who is it? Bryant, who does the Mercedes commercials. Brian Gumbel.
Oh, okay.
He's the voiceover for Mercedes. I mean, he has that commanding voice that everybody recognizes. So he's going to draw people in.
Okay, I'll take it. By the way, and this is for all of you and anybody who loves the theater or loves the dynamics of performance, there is a side-by-side out there, as a video out there, and I wish we'd have it out. Maybe we'll play it next time, of James Earl Jones and Denzel Washington playing the same role in the same scene of Fences on stage.
I have heard of this.
Okay. And you see them, first they do James Earl Jones's rendition, and then they do Denzel Washington's rendition. And they couldn't have approached it more differently. And yet both were brilliant. And so for those that are fascinated by the art and the craft of theater, this thing, I'll find the link, and like I said, maybe we'll play it next time. This is one of those master classes in bring what you have. Bring who you are. Find yourself or find your own space in this role. Do not look at other people and try to copy and create, because guess what? What you bring could be extraordinary. So, quid pro quo, Michael. Hit me with it.
Well,
I will do it.
I'm going to go just off of what you just did. It is actually a good thing to pay homage to somebody's performance in a show that came before when you get to play the role.
Okay. All right. So I played Captain Hook. You guys have heard this. And Cyril Richard did it originally, and everybody had it in their head to hear this sound and this visage and all of that. As a giver to the audience, as that contract that we have with the audience of sit there, I got you. You just relax and we're going to make this amazing. There are those things that they expect of us that if we don't hand them to them, they'll leave disappointed. Peter Pan has to fly. If Peter Pan doesn't fly, when's Peter Pan going to fly? Right. So there are those things. And if you give a quick nod, right? Dylan, who's on some of the other shows, played the genie in Aladdin for a long time. And you saw him give a quick nod to Robin Williams every once in a while when he did it. If you give a quick nod to that level of respect that you have for somebody who already achieved greatness in the role, then the audience can relax and say, he's not trying to be that, but he respects that. And so now I'm going to take that respect and hand it to him or her and allow for that role to live with them. Yeah. I wasn't even ready. I'm just saying.
I like it.
All right.
I like that answer. That I give that one a lot too. With like, oh, you did that. I was like, I wanted to pay respect to it, but I didn't want to copy.
Yep. People asked me how I got the voice of Hook. It was mostly an homage to the Sorting Hat in Harry Potter. So, yeah.
Inspiration. Gryffindor. It comes from a variety of
Gryffindor.
things.
Yeah, it was that. So, thank you, everybody who watched. No thank you to the two that downvoted us. You're dead.
If you haven't liked the show, please do. Hit the like button. I know it's late in the show here, but still, we appreciate the fact that you've joined us and all of that. And let us know in the comments too how you liked the show tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We're gonna going forward. We have a lot, fortunately, and in many cases just extraordinarily, we have a lot of industry friends out there, and a lot of even family and friends who are in the industry. And we're going to be interviewing them and bringing them in, doing backstories, and then bringing in people that you already know and love from the Vaudassi Network and having conversations. This is going to be a very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to be amoebic in nature. So look it up if you don't know the word. And so please, 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 your suggestions are more than welcome. And if you want to reach out during one of the other shows, or you want to just ping me on Facebook or Michael or Craig, feel free. We'd love your suggestions. We want to make this as entertaining as possible, but give you a glimpse into various aspects of the theater. So for Michael and Craig, thank you, gentlemen, so much for being the three-parted baby's butt of our heads on this show. It's beautiful. And to our audience, thank you so much for being with us tonight and asking your wonderful questions.
And thank you to Paul Carganilla for giving us the opportunity
to
work this show, to bring it to you.
Yep, absolutely. Paul, you are a saint and at least a man among men. So there's that. All right. Love you guys. Thank you very, very much. And we will see you next time on The Green Room. Play us out, Craig.
All right. Let's do this.